I'm romance reader and reviewer Liz Donatelli. Welcome to Reader Seeks Romance, a romance novel talk show that features entertaining interviews with authors and publishing insiders. My guest this episode is New York Times best-selling romance author Kay Bromberg. Kay, or Christy, and I chatted about her new age gap romance, Flirting with 40, and much more. We also played a round of top 3, and Christy gave a tour of her writer's office. Enjoy. Hi, Christy. Welcome to Reader Seeks Romance.
Hi.
Tell me about Flirting with 40.
Flirting with 40 is a book that's kind of been on my radar for a while. I'm 44, and I read a lot.
I am too.
Yay! I just turned a couple weeks ago.
I did too. When is your birthday?
August 24th.
I'm August 28th.
There we go. That was my Cabbage Patch Kid's birthday as a kid. I don't know why I remember that.
That's random, but exciting.
Christy and I are now best friends forever.
So I had talked to my agent. She's like, people aren't going to buy a book about a 40-something. And I totally disagree. I think there's a lot of us who read romance or in our late 30s, early 40s, or beyond. And as much as we love reading girls and women in their 20s or early 30s, we want someone that we can relate to. So for some reason, I just couldn't, I never can have titles right up off the bat, but I had this title in my head and I couldn't get rid of it. And I was like, why can't I do a book about someone like my age? And why can't he be younger? And why can't he be like cheering her on? And it's an age gap romance, but it doesn't focus on the age. It focuses more on her coming into her own. She's recently out of a divorce, and not that her marriage was bad by any means, but she realizes now how much of herself she has lost now that it's over. And so in comes this guy who just happens to be sitting down next to her at a bar, and then who happens to see her on the street a couple weeks later. And he kind of becomes her cheerleader, like, stick your toes in the sand, howl at the moon, screw what anyone says, live your life. And that's kind of the theme of the book. So it kind of starts out as him pushing her, and then it turns into, hey, I'm going to your work retreat with you so you can tell all the young girls, like, look, you can get this man. And then things happen. It's definitely a lighter book, and I usually write a little bit more real in my books with a lot more emotion. But I think right now in this time, lighter's needed. Like, there's just so much going on. I love the characters, and I love writing a man who I don't have to redeem.
I like that too.
So many men, we have to redeem them, or we have to make them jerks. Like, you know, I get the alpha a-hole, like, people really love them, and I love reading them too, but every once in a while, it's nice to have a man that you can just fall in love with off the bat.
I was perusing your website last night, and it is a delight. There are a lot of super buff hunks on the covers of your many romance novels. Are you involved intimately in the selection of the abs that are featured on the book covers?
Do I put my hands on them? No. The funny thing is, I have tried doing non-ab covers, and they don't sell. So as much as I hear when I go to do a cover and I ask, are you guys over abs yet? And everyone says, oh my God, I'm so done with abs. When I do a cover that doesn't have abs on it, I end up having to switch it to an ab cover for sales. I would prefer not to. I prefer to have couples or softer, but I definitely, the abs sell for me. So do I pick them? Yes. Do I get to be hands-on? No.
Oh, okay.
The problem is, though, is there's only so many models like that you can find. I mean, I'm sure there's millions of them, but to find photographers who are willing to sell rights to us as authors, it's not exactly as easy as it seems. And so, like, we literally scour Instagram and then have to email photographers and be like, hey, are you willing to sell the rights to this photo for a book cover? And for some, it's beneath them. And for some, like, sure, but I'm going to give you a ridiculous price for it. So then there are some who are just basically do photographs for us, which are awesome. But when those photographers, which are so readily accessible, they use the same models over and over sometimes. And so to find someone that hasn't been overused is not always easy to do.
Do you have to be in the mood for love in order to write romance? Because as a reader, if I'm annoyed with my husband, I don't even want to pick up, you know, a romance novel. So is it the same for a romance writer?
I would say yes, but because it's a job, you have to be able to write through anything. So, this year has been tough because I have 3 kids home with me since March. um,
That look says it all.
Every time Mama sits down to write, it's like, Mom, 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 Mom. Like, oh my God. I do tend to write those scenes, those scenes, late at night when when everyone's asleep, just because it's easier for me to not get interrupted, because there's nothing like, and he's stuck, Mom, I self-published my first 3 books, and then I took a 4-book deal with Penguin. So I wrote 4 books with them.
Right.
Then they wanted to restrict my publishing to my indie publishing. And so I walked away from more deals because I had a book ready. I had a book called Sweet Cheeks that I just wanted to release. It was sitting there completely done. And they were to made me wait, I think 18 months to release it. And I told them, you can't, in this market, this was like 3 years ago at the time, in this market, the more we release, the better. Like, if you handcuff me that I can only release 1 book in 18 months, you're, 1, killing my career, and 2, it's not benefiting your sales any. So, so I opted not to take the deal, and I walked away from it. And then I published the next day. And I have no problem going back to traditional publishing. I would say I'm hybrid, but of the 26 books I've written, like 6 are with a publisher. And I like being indie. I like having my own choices and my own decisions. And nowadays, honestly, with a big publisher, you're doing it all yourself anyway, except for the editing. I'm giving them more of my money, and I'm still doing the same amount of work. That doesn't, compute for me.
Right. What is KB Worlds?
Okay, so the KB Worlds is kind of my paying it forward. When I started, I didn't know anything. I made a lot of mistakes. And so for me, KB Worlds is a way, I've opened up 2 of my series, the Driven series and my Everyday Hero series, to let upcoming authors write in an established world with a brand set on it, so that they can maybe it's an established platform. There's readers who follow it, and they can present books in those worlds, and those readers possibly will read them, and they'll gain new. It's about visibility. It's about, I would say it's mentorship, but I don't want to say that because I'm not hands-on every book. I mean, I'm approving outlines, I'm approving blurbs and covers, and I'm answering questions, but it's more for me, it's my pay it forward. Like, I have been extremely fortunate. I hit my books at a really good time, like timing and luck, and everything happened at once. So this is my way to kind of pay it back, to have I have 200 authors in the world that are writing, that are contracted. They're letting readers see the characters they love in like snapshots in their books while introducing them to their characters. So it's a crossover in a sense, but it's allowing them to have visibility they're not getting as a new author.
Your romance novel, Driven, was adapted into a limited series on streaming service Passionflix. Passionflix being a premium streaming service that offers original movies adapted from best-selling romance novels. So that's pretty awesome. How did that amazing opportunity present itself to you?
Ironically, we were talking about CD Reese earlier. She introduced me to the owner of Passionflix, and they approached me about buying the first 3 books and adapting them. And so we kind of went from there, and we adapted the first film, and then we're supposed to start the 2nd and 3rd this year, but COVID hit. So hopefully this year we'll get them in. It was crazy, insane to watch. Like, I went into it with the mindset that this company wants to pay me to give me a great marketing tool for 6-year-old books. Like, that's kind of how my mindset was, because I wasn't really sure how it would unfold. And then they let me be part of every single step of the way. I got to help with the screenplay. I was on set like 90% of the time. We would rewrite things on set that didn't work. They'd look over at me and I'd be like, okay, yeah, let's just do that. Let's change this words up. So they really had me involved to the point where, like, after every take, are you good with that? Can we move on? So I was really, really impressed with how much attention to detail they had with the series. Like, to the point where one day they were doing something, asking me a question. I'm like, I don't care. They're like, no. In the book, it says this. Are you okay with this? And I'm like, well, I don't even remember, like, I don't care. But they're like, but the readers will. So yeah, I was like, for the experience alone, it was just incredible to watch, like, my character come in, and like, the first time I saw him in character, I started like crying. It was like so like overwhelming. But it was definitely an experience. Yeah. And I can't wait to like see it go through the rest of the series with them.
Top 3 favorite things about being a romance author.
I get to touch people emotionally. I get to help people escape from tough times. And I get to like do my dream job.
Top 3 things you must have by your side when you write.
Diet Coke. Sometimes with or without rum. Pen. And my cell phone, because I lock myself out of social media on my computer so I don't get distracted. I have like an app. So then I just grab my phone and go on it.
Top 3 distractions you face while writing.
Kids, social media, anything. Oh, laundry? I hate laundry. Oh, there's a load to be done? Oh, who do it? Anything.
What are your top 3 all-time favorite romance novels?
Oh, man. I'm going to say this is not exactly romance, but it's romance. A Court of Thorn and Roses series. Oh, it is like, it's just, that series just gets me. And the hero is just, when I was younger, I wasn't a big Danielle Steele fan, but there was a book by her called Fine Things, and it ripped my heart out as a kid. And so for me, like that book, it's another not romance, but romance. The Other Side of Midnight by Sidney Sheldon. Top
3 favorite K. Bromberg books.
That's like picking a child. Downshift, because it's the little boy in Driven that you get to see him be okay when he's older. Combust, which is my firefighter book. She is kind of a curvy heroine who doesn't really like herself, and I like that he helps her see that she's beautiful however she is. And Resist and Reveal, because she's a madam and most women don't like women who do things like that. And so I'm determined to make you like her. That's Driven movie poster.
Nice.
That is my it says
FYEAW.
Forget your excuses and write, or excuses and write if you want.
Is that something you came up with, or is that a known?
No, it's just something, it was kind of a joke between a couple authors and me. And so that was just, I never have had to actually explain that before.
Oh, I love it.
And then I have a book right here that said, it's one of those books that are pages. Here, I'll move it so you guys can see it closer. And it says, We Race You, from the Driven series.
Yes.
It's folded. Here. That's my doodle. I have a doodle for Driven. Someone drew that for me.
Nice.
And then
you get a lot of fan like letters and art.
Yeah, and so then I just have my wall that says Write, Imagine, Create.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and then I have my New York Times are stacked up. What else? Woo. Yeah, I have a lot. I keep a jar right here of things that people have sent me, like of all the little things.
Oh, nice.
And then my books. Yeah. Like these are more fan things.
Very cool. Wow, you get a lot of fan love.
Yes, I'm very blessed. I have some awesome readers.
Those binders behind you look pretty serious.
So that's like all of my contracts that I keep. So I have them on hand. And those are writing manuals, notebooks. I'm very anal about how when I write a book. So like I have to have it in a folder. I have to have an outline. It's a process. Like my outline has to be handwritten. Like I'm just very...
Yeah, but that's because you're a Virgo. We're both Virgos, and Virgos are like that. Absolutely. This makes sense to me.
Yes.
This makes sense to me.
It works, right?
Thank you so much, Christy.
It was so nice talking to you.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun, and hopefully you'll come back sometime in 2021.
Just ask. I'll be here.